Hello and welcome to Cards and Cardboard. This is our little YouTube space here. We do reviews for board games and card games, just analog cards and cardboard, obviously. We do have a little feature here for the digital reviews that we do on Steam, but those are more of a personal project of mine. But thank you so much for visiting our channel. There may be a few things that come up here. Our reviews are kind of in this weird structure where I try to go off of this 1 to 10 rating scale from the Board Game Geek. But how we kind of rate things these days is, going down this list. We do the rulebook first. We rate that on 1 to 10, and that's based on how I feel the clarity of the rules are, how easy it is to read, how the layout is, and if it gives you enough reference or if it needed some sort of errata. Basically, 10 is just, it's perfectly written. There's no room for ambiguity in there. One is it didn't even come with a rulebook. It's a game that literally cannot be played because I don't understand the rules. The next part we have is artwork that we review. Artwork is important in board games because it's not just the game is pretty and the miniatures look nice. It's also about the graphic design, the layout of the cards, the font choices, the use of different iconography, and the mixing of aesthetic to theme to what you get on the tabletop. That's really important for games, and it helps put them in the sales. But really and truly, if the cards are unable to be read, or if the board is just sloppy and it's hard to tell which is linked to which, that's where we have the issues. So again, on a 10, everything's laid out perfectly. I can understand the game and everything looks great. I've had a few games where the artwork was just so good and everything made sense, but then there's these games where the artwork, maybe it's like, I don't know, stick figures on cards, and they're even written badly, and the cards themselves are very poorly drawn. I guess it would be something like you'd see out of a very, 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 very poor prototype. So it's astronomically bad. We go over components of each of the board games as well. The components are basically based on how sturdy things are, how much life quality you're going to get out of these, how good the insert in the box is, if everything can fit into the box. Those things are really important because you want your game to last, and you want your game to have a good, again, aesthetic appeal, which goes back to the artwork. But if something is just broken, or if something's just off or flimsy, it can really ruin that experience. So again, we have sturdy, reliable, probably going to stay around forever, and then you've got down here where it's a few glass balls that are pre-crushed on delivery. The minis are broken apart and unfixable. And the card quality is that of someone printed this off on printer paper. We've never had, thankfully, anything in that quality, but that's kind of how the scale works. Next little part we have is the mechanisms. This kind of goes back to the rules. It's basically how the game flows and how it plays. Does it play coherently? Does every rule kind of make sense? Is it elegant? Are you engaged every turn? Are you engaged on other people's turns? So we kind of look at that. Perfect 10 game has a lot of player interaction, a lot of interesting choices, complex choices as well. Things that give you a lot of ability to augment the game to have interesting consequences or endings. One is a game where, well, it's almost not a game. I think the best thing would be flipping a coin and it never comes down. I know it's a little weird to say, but you have these betting games where you flip a coin and you're guessing whether it's heads or tails. That's still a game that's worth about 1 or 2. Below that is, you can't even describe it, of how poor this game actually plays. Replay factor is our next little segment that we do. Replay factor is a huge, huge thing in our area of expertise here, because if your game gets bland after 2 or 3 plays, that's something that you're not going to want to keep in your collection. You might pull it out once a year or have it in like a game library if it's like for a cafe, or if you go out and do game nights at places, you might play it then. This is based on several things. Usually, the gameplay length is one of the main deciding factors of it, but there's also the use of asymmetrical player powers. There's the use of random setups or things that change every time you play the game. So 10 is just a game there, as soon as it hits the table, it's something almost feels entirely new. You're going to want to play it again and again. The gameplay doesn't stay the same. It changes up depending on how people play during that round. A 1 is a game that, again, it's always going to play the same no matter what, and the choices that you get every turn are not interesting. It's like saying, okay, I'm going to move my piece forward 1 all the time. This is something like almost like a Candyland, except with Candyland you only get to move 1 space every time. And so the first player is always going to win kind of situation. And then we have a final thoughts section where I kind of try to summarize everything, and that summary is kind of broken down into how I overall feel the game is worth in a collection, or kind of what its value is. And it's a little more subjective because this is just how I kind of rate things on the Board Game Geek scale of 10, which is just an outstanding game, or a 0, in which it's a game that's, it's garbage. It's something that it gains value in the trash. Again, we've never had really many instances of these 0 or 1 games, thankfully so. But we have had many times where I feel like some games definitely deserve higher or lower based on things. But again, it's all subjective. Everything that we do here on the review show is based on my opinions and my wife's opinions and how we've kind of written out these reviews. So thank you so much for coming to our channel. We have tons of videos over here to the side. We're working on some more Let's Play stuff over on this side. I have a few play videos linked up here. We have some BattleCon live plays. If you have anything that you want to see on the channel, please leave us a comment. We are more than willing to expand this channel and see what we can do to make games more engaging for people. Thank you so much, and have a good night.